Sora is a product by OpenAI. They are the makers of ChatGPT that allows you to create videos. In a previous post, I covered how their Dolly product allows you to create images, and Sora is very similar, except that instead of creating images, it creates actual videos. Now these videos currently, as of this post, are pretty short. They run generally 5-6 seconds up to 20 seconds. And you can see that with Sora, you can create some pretty whimsical and interesting videos. Sure, you can create a fire-breathing dog, or a baby riding a giant cat, or spaceships filled with sheep-like creatures that are a little bit out of control. You can have really interesting, futuristic, or majestic, or fantastical landscapes. You can have a dragon, you can have a panda duck, you can have a walking couch, because why not? You can create pretty much everything. Gotta love that toast man there on the left, someone you could definitely take seriously. It's actually really easy to create videos with Sora, except that there are some pretty severe limitations. Basically, sure, we can create all these awesome videos, but it takes a little bit of luck. Also, generally speaking, in order to get some good videos, your prompts have to be pretty simple, such as a cat teaching science to other cats, or a dragon with the face of a white dog soaring through the sky, carrying a child on its back. If you have anything that is complex, even if it's only slightly complex, like a series of events taking place, it can get pretty wonky. This is a real fun one. This prompt is actually a little bit longer, about a realistic selfie-style video about George Washington at the famous crossing of the Delaware River. Here this guy with one hand is taking a video selfie, and then with the other hand is taking a photo selfie with an iPhone. And yeah, this really happened. And there, of course, is a man made out of Post-it notes. I don't know what is going on here with the monkeys, but very interesting. That's all I have to say about this. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Here it doesn't really tell me the full prompt. But there's lots of other fascinating videos. There's a man with a selfie stick at the very building of the pyramids. Here I'll just scroll through a couple of more interesting things. There's that really cool one with the lion on the right. That's nothing whimsical, but of course on the left-hand side you have a catbird, and workers doing a kind of facial spa to someone, and on the right-hand side we have a cat going to work. We've got a baby skydiving, slightly disturbing. That dog at the gym is really strange. On the left-hand side we have a really cool kind of dinosaur landscape, and statues dancing, and here is a freezer scenario where you have ice hockey taking place there. Here we've got walking through a Van Gogh painting. Super cool, super interesting. I love this one on the right over here, of a massive whale drifts gracefully through the towering skyscrapers of a bustling city. Someone surfing in a coffee mug. So what Sora is really great at is creating these very short, pretty simple, but sometimes whimsical videos. There's not necessarily a lot of business use cases for this. I, however, do use it for my video posts to make it more interesting, just like I sprinkle it with images. I also sprinkle it with short videos. You can also maybe use these for social media, but to create anything really complex, if you want to create a movie, for example, then it's going to come up short. But let's create something simple. Here you can see I'm typing in avocado detective looking for clues. So when I hit the go button, you can see it says added to queue. So you kind of have to sit and wait for it to generate the video. By default, it generates 2 different videos for you to choose from, but I've changed my settings so it will only generate 1. And so we wait for our video to be created. Eventually it is. And we can click on it to enlarge it, and this is definitely an avocado, and it's definitely a detective because it has a hat and magnifying glass. Now what's really cool is that you can click on this icon, View Story, which brings us to what's called the storyboard, which actually shows us that Sora took our prompts and generated these multiple scenes with much more specificity. Here it says, in a dimly lit room, an anthropomorphic avocado detective, complete with a tiny fedora and magnifying glass, examines a cluttered desk filled with papers and mysterious objects, etc. So this is a lot more specificity than we put in. Basically, it decides what does it mean an avocado is a detective, and it supplies these details such as the hat and magnifying glass and even the bookshelves in the background. And then Sora builds the video based on these details. Now you can see that we can also click here on a second scene. The avocado detective bends closer to inspect a suspicious footprint on the floor. Now you can see this is not entirely accurate because the footprint isn't on the floor, it's on the desk. So this, as you'll see, is where Sora has its limitations. So going back to the storyboard, we can take advantage of the further details here to make edits to our story. So we can say, for example, that instead of simply having a tiny fedora and magnifying glass, we can also have a tiny fedora, a magnifying glass, and a pipe. And that, of course, will enhance the detective look. Additionally, you can actually change. You can see that this video is almost 10 seconds long, and you can actually change where this second scene occurs in sequence. So we can make it a second earlier if we so wanted to. Then we hit the create button to make the new edited story, and once again we have to wait. It's been added to the queue. Now, once it's been created, we can look at it, and it created a whole different video. And this one basically seems to be much farther off from what we were looking for. Very different, and our avocado no longer looks like a detective. It lost the fedora. He's not holding the magnifying glass. Someone else is holding the magnifying glass. So again, this starts to reveal some of the limitations of Sora. When you want to try to make it perfect, it can actually make things worse. That being said, Sora does come with features to try to make things better, and it has this feature here called Remix, and you can try to make a change to the video. So we're not going into the storyboard and changing the text, but we're just going to describe a change that we want to make to the video. So we can say, give the avocado a pipe to smoke. And then we hit remix and we have to wait. When we look at the video it's created, it's definitely a lot closer to the original. He's holding the magnifying glass in one hand, a kind of pipe in the other hand, but the smoke is coming out of the magnifying glass. So again, definitely far from perfect. Another time I tried to make a video of a man looking outside of an airplane window and seeing a flying llama pass by. It took me a couple of attempts, and none of them were anything I was really happy with. So here's a man looking out a window, but instead of the llama passing by, it kind of appears out of nowhere, which is definitely not what I was looking for. So I went into the storyboard to see why this is happening, and I saw in the second scene it says, suddenly the man sees through the window a flying llama with wings. So I figured, hey, I'll go in and change the text to describe it more like the llama was flying by, it was passing by, as opposed to it appearing out of nowhere. But then it created this video. There's a two-headed llama, two airplane seats facing each other, and now the llama has lost one of its heads. So definitely not exactly what I was hoping for. I tried yet another one, and here we have a fellow who looks really uncomfortable. And then there's a pretty deformed llama passing by with multiple tails. So yeah, also definitely not on the mark. This one, there's two llamas. They don't have wings, but this is definitely the best one that came up for me. And I have seen reports of many people using Sora and saying that it could take them 10 to 20 prompts where they have to generate these videos over and over again until they get a video that is even close to what they're looking for. But Sora is good for creating short and simple videos, whether they are silly, ridiculous, or outright insane, or a glimpse into majestic nature. It's not necessarily going to create exactly what you want, but it'll definitely create something interesting. So depending on what you're looking for, it could or cannot be useful, but it's certainly a lot of fun to play with. So go ahead and try Sora out for yourself.